So with that, I would love to introduce, I'm so excited, our first panel that I will be moderating, a conversation that's centered around empowerment, innovation, and community that is transforming. There's no better place or example of that vision in action that's what's happening here in West Palm Beach. So today I have the opportunity to moderate this panel. Eric, Dr. Parker, Mayor James, if you wouldn't mind joining me on stage. Thank you. And while they're making their way up here, just brief introduction so they don't have to introduce themselves. Eric Szilagyi is the Vice Chairman of Related, a champion of higher education, work readiness, and economic development. Mayor James, Mayor of West Palm Beach and the driving force behind the city's transformation. And Dr. Eva Parker, President of Palm Beach State, who is creating real-world career pathways for thousands of students across the region. Fantastic. Thank you for being here. And I have to say, every conversation I have with all of you, it's more and more inspiring and more exciting for us to be here and be part of the community. So thank you all. So Mayor James, let's start with you. You know, you have served the city for decades as a commissioner and now as mayor. You have shaped the strategic and financial framework of this incredible city. But 6 years ago, could you have imagined a private sector partner like Stephen Ross coming in with this level of commitment and so aligned to your mission of creating opportunity for all?
Short answer to that is no, but first of all, thank you for having me, Karen, Service Now. This is such an exciting moment for our city. And first, I'm going to say it's not fair for you to put that video on. That story that you show is just a small example of what I think can happen in our city. So, having said that, no, I couldn't have imagined it, but I'm a strong believer that if you articulate a clear vision, and those of you who've heard me speak before know that my vision is to create in West Palm Beach a community of opportunity for all. And you speak to whether it's corporate partners, whether it's even the residents of the city, businesses, I had the expectation that good things would happen. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if I could even have dreamt of a corporate partner as good for the city as Stephen Ross and Related Ross. That's beyond my wildest expectation. But what I most enjoy is that in early conversations I had with Stephen, he wasn't just looking to build beautiful buildings in my city, and they are indeed beautiful. We're in one now. But he was looking to build a community, which directly aligned with what I wanted to do. And I think he recognized that in order to have a truly sustainable community, you needed to have some of the extras. You needed to have those opportunities for all, whether it's employment opportunities, whether it's housing opportunities. And he got it. And so I'm very happy for that relationship.
Yeah, it is unique to have a visionary like that. And, you know, certainly the investment that he's making in this community for sure.
I like to say that he is, you know, you've heard the saying, he's putting his money where his mouth is. Stephen is putting his money where his heart is. He truly has a passion for what we're doing in West Palm Beach. Mm-hmm. And it's a wonderful thing.
Before we move on to Eric, how does tech skilling through initiatives like Rise Up with ServiceNow fit into your broader workforce plan?
Well, again, as I said, my vision is to make West Palm Beach a community of opportunity for all. Having a opportunity for young boys and girls who live in some of these underserved communities, which are literally just blocks away from here, giving them the opportunity to perhaps have a future in tech is something that was literally unheard of 5 years, 6 years ago. Even today, it has not yet become a reality. And it's all about giving these kids an opportunity to have a future, whether it's in tech or other areas. But before that opportunity, that potential did not exist in our city. And so, the kids, they see, the football players on TV, the basketball players, and the rappers, but they need to understand you don't need to pick up a microphone. You don't need to dribble a basketball. You don't need to run a football to be successful. There is a path for you. And what we're doing with the program you're talking about is creating that path for success.
Absolutely. We talked about this, and, oftentimes young kids have to see it to be it. And being able to, as part of the program, we will be exposing, Rise Up Junior, exposing Discover ServiceNow, going into the communities, having those conversations with 8th graders, 9th graders, even younger, to really have them understand the opportunity that lies ahead for them with tech and realize that they can make an incredible living, even more so and probably more sustainable than being a rapper, a singer, a basketball player, for sure. Thank you. And we'll come back to that. So Eric, first of all, congratulations. You are 31 days in?
Yeah, not even. So with the related Ross, I'm kind of a rookie on the team.
You're rookie on the team, but you've already just jumped in. And as the vice chair of Related, I know that you are no stranger to the work that the mayor is doing, and you're no stranger to Dr. Ava Parker as well. What is Related's vision for the future of West Palm Beach and Palm Beach County? You're investing in buildings, and as the mayor said, universities, hospitals, businesses. What does, and we haven't talked about this, Silicon Valley East really look like?
Sure. Well, first I want to say thank you. Thank you for hosting this and putting all this together. I also want to thank the mayor and Dr. Parker. I mean, these have been two incredible leaders for so many years in this area and have really made an impact and an imprint throughout the area. I've been blessed to work with them and alongside of them for more than 2 decades. In my previous role as CEO of Florida Power and Light, I had a chance to work directly with both of them and saw you use the word passion, Mayor? I saw the passion, and I saw the drive and the desire to create opportunity, right? And Ava's been doing an amazing job at Palm Beach State and giving that opportunity to young men and women from across the area that simply wouldn't have had that opportunity but for their efforts. And that's really what I think Related Ross is all about, and Steve Ross's vision, and the mayor talked about it, about his passion to create communities, not just buildings, which is what I found so attractive and why I wanted to be part of the team. I moved here 22 years ago. And unlike a lot of people, I didn't come here because I was trying to figure out how to get to Florida and the beaches. Had I known everything, I would have. But I came here for the job.
Yeah.
And then fell in love with this area. And have seen over the years the changes, have seen how we have grown, but importantly, have really come to appreciate what this community can bring to bear, especially when we all work together and find ways to kind of lift everybody up. And we have an amazing area that is, geographically, most people don't realize Palm Beach County is one of the 10 largest landmass counties east of the Mississippi River in the United States, which gives us a lot of opportunity for development. It's also a county, though, with a very deep and rich history in technology. Personal computer was invented just down the road from here by IBM. Pratt & Whitney came here back in the 50s and was developing, cutting edge jet engines, and done here largely because they weren't worried about Sputnik flying over and seeing it as easily. We've had this defense technology industry that's been here quietly growing and developing for decades. And attracting people from all over the world, coupled with a lot of people who've also transitioned here at one time or another through their military service. And so we have this incredibly diverse and talented workforce we're able to tap into. At FPL, we had 10,000 employees. 15% were veterans. And we had a very intentional program to recruit out of the military because the talent pool is so deep and they have such great training and discipline and a hunger and a passion to continue to grow. And then, of course, Ava takes them and molds them and shapes them into powerhouses. And the mayor has focused again on creating this dynamic and welcoming community that helps lift everybody up. Yeah. And Steve's vision to basically amplify that and to kind of put it on steroids and say, let's move as quickly as we can. If there's one thing that I really appreciate about Steve is his lack of patience. And I know everybody here who works for Related Ross will smile on this, but you know, he is driven. And I love that because quite frankly, you know, it's what is going to help, I think, Palm Beach County accelerate even beyond where it is today. And there are so many advantages that we have. We just need to take those, leverage those, and launch. And if we do that smartly, because growth for growth isn't necessarily good. You need to be smart about it. You need to be thoughtful about it. Then we truly can develop, I think, the technology hub. Some people call it Silicon Valley East. I call it more like the Gold Coast Technology Corridor, where we can create this ecosystem, this critical mass of talent and thought leaders here and help change the world.
Yeah, incredible, incredible. I'm going to pick up on a couple of things. First of all, just, you know, IBM being the originator of technology here is fascinating. The other thing that you mentioned is the veteran community, which is like near and dear. It's also near and dear to our hearts with Rise Up, with ServiceNow. We feel like the veteran community there's so much untapped talent there.
Look, I couldn't agree more. And again, I think, you know, for the men and women who have served our country, which I'm thankful for every day, we have a duty to also help them come back into the community and provide opportunities. And that's, you know, it's a word the mayor used repeatedly. It's opportunity. These are not gifts. It's not charity. It's opportunity for those who want to then work hard and create a better life, whatever life that is, that their passion drives them to. But giving them that foundational opportunity to do that. I'm a product of that. My father joined the military so he could get the opportunity to qualify for the GI Bill and get a college degree. And he went and literally put his life on the line in combat so he could qualify to do something that he would have had no opportunity to do but for the GI Bill. That wasn't in the cards. Before that, he was working on a factory floor. And it changed the trajectory of our entire family and all the opportunities that we've had. You know, my parents worked their whole lives to give my brother and I opportunities they never had. I think that's our responsibility. And that's why I joined Related Ross, because I know Steve shares this vision of you work really hard to set the table for the next generation.
Absolutely.
And giving the next generation the opportunity to do even more than what we've been able to accomplish. And most importantly, don't leave them a mess that they have to spend their lives fixing. Give them the opportunity to be able to look forward and change the world because they can focus on moving ahead rather than fixing behind. And so that's what I know these two share, that vision. And Steve does the same thing. And frankly, the whole Related Ross team feels that way.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
And it sounds like that's exactly the philosophy that I've heard coming out of ServiceNow.
Absolutely. You know, so it's interesting. Our motto is that we make the world work better for everyone. And that's what we're all about, and that's what it seems like this community is about too as well. But so Ava, There's so much I want to unpack here because the more and more I learn about Palm Beach State College, it's just, I just think about the opportunity and the legacy that you are creating here. You told me that there are over 1,000 veterans in the community as well, so we're hoping to. But let's talk about, your entry point of building a strong pipeline. At Palm Beach State, you're building more than just a curriculum. You're building futures, and I love the fact that you talk about you want to make sure you're building the futures for your students to stay in West Palm Beach and not just go off to other cities. How are you evolving the program to meet the demands of the growing tech and innovation ecosystem right here in West Palm Beach?
First, Karen, thank you so much for the opportunity to be a part of the conversation with these two gentlemen. I've known Eric for such a long time and so happy to work with him as he's involved in his next role. But I really have to start with giving kudos to our mayor. So much of what's happening here had to start with the mayor, with a servant's heart and a vision to want to make sure that he left his community better than he found it. And I say that because to me it takes a public entity with a vision that's met with a private partner with resources and also a vision in order to make this all happen. So it's not lost on me. To me, it just starts with you and the things that you wanted to do. And I just want to say thank you so much and give you kudos for that. And why don't we give him a big round of applause? So Karen, I do have a real commitment to making sure that there are opportunities here in Palm Beach County and more specifically in West Palm Beach, because over 75% of my students who matriculate and earn a credential at Palm Beach State College, they want to stay in this community. And so it was so important to me to hear Stephen say things like he wants to make sure that all boats rise, and everyone rises together, and that he's creating this model city, and that he understands that as he brings industry and brings companies here, that he also had to create an opportunity for those who wanted to stay here to have a job. And that's interesting because to me, that's part of my responsibility as the public college that serves this region. It is to understand what it is that we can make and build and develop so that those students who are from here and want to stay here have an opportunity, and they can afford to, because it's getting more and more expensive to live here. So as we build different things, it's important that we have economic opportunities for folks to be able to stay here. And I was perplexed because as I looked across the country, there are over like 1,000 public colleges throughout the country, and I look in different communities, we didn't have those same kind of industries that you often see like in South Carolina or even in Nashville when people think about, factories and those kinds of things. So we have aviation going, but we didn't have that kind of in the center of our county. And so I've always believed that technology could be that thing that could help to transform our community and provide that opportunity. In fact, when I started, and I was so blessed to have Eric be a part of my investiture as I started my career at Palm Beach State College, I said that I'm committed to raising the IT IQ of my students, because I believe by doing that, then they will have an opportunity to stay in their jobs and create opportunities. I feel very responsible for being the entity that's going to help to train our citizens so that they can have those jobs and have those opportunities. But for Rise Up, but for an entity like ServiceNow coming in, it was a little bit more difficult. So we have great tech companies here, and we partner with them. We have an artificial intelligence program and other programs that would train our students. But what's different about you guys is the mass or the numbers, because you'll have the numbers and the need for the number of students that will make a difference and help to transform the opportunities.
Absolutely.
And that's just not lost on me.
It's amazing. One number that sticks in the back of my head, in fact, is that there's going to be 92 million jobs with the revolution of AI by 2030. So AI certainly is at the forefront of everything we do. And as we skill up the next generation, it's important, it's important for us and everyone at ServiceNow that we know AI, we use AI, and that we all are building AI as vibe coders. So the work that we're doing, certainly with the colleges and universities, we're not just working with community-based organizations, but we're working with academic partners. I'm sorry, Alexa, to call you out, but Alexa is here, and she runs all of the academic partners for, if you don't mind standing and waving your hand, she runs all of our academic partner programs for ServiceNow, so we'll make sure that you connect with the group. How are you working with other companies like Related with your students? Like what type of stickiness and connections are you?
So one thing that we're working on, because we have a Panther Advanced Technology Hub, where we really are ensuring that students have an opportunity to engage with technology. One thing that is going to be opening this summer is that we knew it was important to have artificial intelligence labs. And Eric can tell you, as a member of the Board of Governors of the State University System, that when you look to the state to help to build buildings, it takes a long time to go through the process because there's several people in line. And so we had to think of a way that we could provide this opportunity quicker and faster because things change so quickly. So one thing that we're doing is actually we are building a lab right now where we have a private partner that's going to co-locate with us. We have a joint space that we're sharing together, and then we have the labs and the offices for faculty and regular classrooms, standing right there together. So that's one example of how it is that we are connecting our students, and this is more specifically for our robotics and for our drone operations. We're connecting them right there in the same space so that as they are getting the basics for their credential, they also are having live in-person space. We have partnerships like what we have with Tomorrow Sports and the SoFi Center, where they're building this technology-infused golf league, where they're hiring our students as interns, and then ultimately hiring them to work within the company, exposing them to those kinds of opportunities. So what we're doing, and what I'd say to the to businesses in the audience today, is that we listen to you, and we understand what your needs are, and then we build programs around what your needs are to ensure that you're going to want to hire our students when they graduate. One thing that people hear me say often is that if you hire our students, and if for some reason they can't do the job you hired them to do, you send them back to me. I'll train them and get them back out to you. Because that's my commitment to making sure that you have what you need to succeed successfully, to really build out the vision that Stephen and that our mayor has for this community. You're going to need talented people. But I can't build them or train them until I know what you need, and know that our ears are bigger than our mouths, and that we pay attention. We build the curriculum quickly, because I don't want to lose you or have my students lose the opportunity to somebody else. So I think that the key is listening, I think is partnerships, and the willing to operate quickly. Yep. Because often academia can be slow, but the slow person loses out, and I don't like to lose.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm just going to tell you, that is so unique and refreshing to hear as a CEO when you're looking to say, I have talent needs, and sometimes it's you have talent already in the company, but particularly now, it's so dynamic, and technology is changing the way it should, at least the way we do business, that you really need the kind of partnership that like FPL had with Palm Beach State, because I'll give you one example. I mean, we used to have thousands of employees who used to go around and read all of your meters for those of you who are customers. Yeah. I'm no longer there, but I'd still say thank you. Yeah. And by the way, remember, you sleep better when it's cooler in your rooms. Keep your air conditioning down. No, I'm kidding. We deployed smart meters. Right, new technology that allows more accurate readings, and remotely only went from thousands of employees reading smart meters to really almost none.
I know.
And we didn't want to lose all those folks. Some of those were great, dedicated employees, so they need to be retrained, given the opportunity. If they chose, to redeploy within the workforce, but we needed help with that. And so having partnerships like with Ava, who says, tell me what you need and we will craft it for you, is so refreshing and so unusual. Right. And a lot of people, you know, in the business community will talk about these things. It's rare that it actually happens. And I can say firsthand, it works.
Yeah.
It works. Because I was able to keep many, many employees who culturally I knew fit, and they had a passion for service, providing the service that the utility provided to customers, but they didn't have skills that were relevant anymore, so they needed retraining, and we were able to do that. And then I had sticky employees that way, which is what you want.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you're going out and having to recruit people from all over the place that you don't know if they're going to work out, and it's a lot more expensive. So it's a real win-win for the community. And it's the kind of partnership that just doesn't happen unless you have strong local leaders like Dr. Parker and the mayor who say, how can we help you be successful as well?
Erica,
and if I may piggyback on that, because that's the third leg of the three-legged stool, right? Is what can the public sector do to create an environment in which businesses want to locate? So for me as the mayor, job number one is public safety. I got to make sure my city is safe and that people feel safe there. But now the intricacy and the interrelationship is my citizens need jobs, so therefore what Ava is doing, what Related Ross is doing in terms of attracting businesses that need that talent, it is really a circular kind of thing. But all of us have to be at the table. All of us have to be intentional about our particular roles in this process. And it doesn't happen without conversations and intentionality.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, there is nothing more important than everybody being at the table and what Dr. Parker said, listening,
Yes.
rather than just talking. And this is for everybody, public sector, private sector, so we all understand what our needs are, but also recognizing that, you know, these investments, like Related Ross has a plan to invest over $10 billion in the area.
Wow.
That's
incredible.
Thank you, but I will tell you, you don't do that unless you have confidence in the predictability and the stability of the environment that you're investing, because you can't pack up the building and leave if it goes badly. It's the same philosophy I had when I was at FPL, and we invested billions of dollars every year in the area, and you can't do that if you don't have predictability and stability in the regulatory environment. And it's one of the things that separates, I think, Palm Beach County, the region, and also the state from so many others around the country and around the world. Predictability and stability, which allows you to bring your business here, to grow your business here, to be successful, knowing that you have to engage and be part of the community, and you have to listen also to what the community needs and be part of solving those problems. But you're also going to be supported by the community.
You know, and I don't know if I know of any other community like this that connects the private, the public, the educational system like you all have done. So this is just so inspiring. But you've said a couple of things that I think that I want to kind of thread the needle to. The number one thing that's keeping CEOs up is what you said, Eric, is skilling and continues to learn, because you don't want to have folks that have been at your company for 20 years and all of a sudden their job has been taken over by AI. AI is not going to take jobs if everyone is aligned with being on the AI training track. But with that being said, I do feel like you are bridging the strategy of employment within West Palm Beach. Can you all just share, I know we've got just a couple, I can't believe, thank you, Alexa, a couple of minutes left. It's like we could talk for hours here, of how you are doing that, how you are bridging the gap, or what's your vision for the future?
Well, first of all, Ava and I are aligned in that we want to keep our young people here. The interesting convergence through conversations with Stephen, as I emphasize community of opportunity for all, he came up with the genius of an idea for something called Related, creating this foundation, Related Together. He provided the initial funding, seed funding for that foundation. I believe it was $8.5 million. And with that monies, he agreed that every graduate of a high school in West Palm Beach would have a scholarship to Palm Beach State. So there we have the kind of convergence of ideas. I'm talking to him about community of opportunity for all. He's working with his team, and he comes up with this idea. We bring Ava in. But at the end of the day, Ava is as committed as I am to keeping these young people here in, I say West Palm Beach County, whatever. I'm biased. I keep saying West Palm Beach. Forgive me, but I'm the mayor of West Palm Beach, so I'm gonna keep saying it. But anyway, keeping these young people in West Palm Beach through the efforts of Stephen Ross to Related Together. They now have scholarships. What Ava is doing with her program, so it is a perfect alignment of the stars of the universe, if you will. But again, that comes about through conversations that are happening, me listening to Stephen Ross and understanding the needs of the tenants that he wants to put in these beautiful buildings, listening to Ava and understanding what her institution is doing, and them listening to me as to what I want to see. So yeah, I want to keep these kids here. And Ava's aligned with that.
I have 3 minutes, so I have 45 seconds. First thing I say, thank you so much, Stephen, for believing. And I want to say to business leaders who are moving into our community, I understand often you keep a house someplace else, but please follow Stephen's lead. I'm sure he has houses in New York and other places, but he gives in this community. So I'd ask if you would follow his lead and understand that it's really important that we give to scholarships and we give to support foundations and charities here in Palm Beach County where you live. So please follow his lead on that. The second thing I'd say to you is that as you are making decisions about employment, ask yourself, are you ready to hire someone who may not have taken a traditional path? So often when I talk to CEOs, they still want bachelors, they still want masters, they still want doctoral degrees. But are you ready to transition to what's happening in our economy now and making a decision to hire a student that has a credential that demonstrates an ability to do the job? And it may not be a higher level credential, or maybe they started here and they're going to go higher later. I need you to start transitioning your mind around the fact that maybe it's about, can you do the job, and you have a demonstrated credential to show that, and not so much about whether you have a master's degree. I say that because that's where I think education is going, and that's where I think we're going to have to go if we're going to be productive in this community.
Great.
So I love that and would completely agree.
Thank you.
You know, I always look for people in hiring that have real passion and are hungry. I find those students who are coming out who are hungry for opportunity, they will so far outperform somebody who is, I don't care how many master's degrees I have from what credential schools, but they will work hard and they will get the job done, and they will typically be so creative. I think also what the mayor said is really important, and Ava touched on this too. Look, corporate America has got to stop saying, you know, I'm coming into your city, so mayor, fix my issue. These are my problems. This is what I need. I need these subsidies. I need this. I need you to do this, blah, blah, blah. We need to be saying, how can we help the community be successful? Because if the community is successful, we'll be successful. Right? And so that's what I found so refreshing about Steve Ross and Related Ross. The approach is just different. I said earlier, you know, I'm the product of a man who used the GI Bill to change the course and direction of his life. Steve said, you know what, let's change the course and direction of other people's lives by giving them opportunity, by creating the Related Together program, call it the RT Bill, right? Instead of waiting on the government to fix the problem, we're gonna do it. We're gonna partner, right, with the local schools, we're gonna partner with the local college, and we're going to actually figure out how to fix the issues and create opportunity rather than waiting on others to do so. That's what I think anybody who moves in, whether it's ServiceNow or anybody else, needs to embrace as well. Because the more you give back, the more you create opportunity for the community, the more successful you're going to be as an individual company.
This has been amazing. I just wanted to give you all just a huge round of applause. My biggest takeaways from the session, there's just so many just great nuggets, is the power of deep listening, the power of action, the power of collaboration, and the work that you're doing here at West Palm Beach. So we are so thrilled to be on this journey with West Palm Beach at ServiceNow. Again, thank you all for being here. This has been a fantastic conversation, and I really appreciate you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.